Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host Paul, and this video we're breaking down some brand new leaks and rumours on Doctor Strange 3. It's a film that's actually going to be very important once we get into the upcoming phases, and this movie's going to have major repercussions on Avengers Kang Dynasty. Cosmis Circus has just dropped a big report going over what's happening in it, and throughout this video we're going to be breaking it all down. Normally, I don't talk about leaks with a film this far from release, but it actually lines up with a lot of stuff I've heard's been pitched for the movie, and I'll of course be talking about that in the video as well. Obviously, heavy spoilers ahead, potentially, so if you don't want to know anything, then please switch off now. If this is your first time here, then also hit that thumbs up button, and make sure you subscribe for videos like this every day. Without the way, huge thank you for clicking this. Now let's get into these Doctor Strange 3 leaks.
The Illuminati?
Now, like I said before, this comes from Alex Perez, who's gotten a number of things right at Cosmis Circus when it comes to the MCU. Perez has said that before the strikes took place, there were a lot of concepts floating around for the next film, and it'll apparently pick up immediately after the events of Multiverse of Madness. Now in it, we'll be following Strange and Clear as the former gets his help with fixing the incursions. Perez has stated the movie's going to loosely adapt the graphic novel Time Runs Out, which, in case you haven't read it, don't worry, we've got you covered.
I'm nice like that.
Now that takes place during Jonathan Hickman's Avengers run, and it happens just before everything majorly kicks off in the main event's Secret Wars. In the build-up to it, you had Hickman writing two books side by side that tell the story of what was going on with the incursions and how the Illuminati were handling them. In New Avengers, we watched as the Illuminati worked in secret to stop the 616 being destroyed by the incursions, whereas in the Avengers book, the heroes went about their business just saving the world, completely unaware of what was going on in the shadows. Now, what happened in Avengers vs. X-Men is that Captain America learned about the Illuminati, and thus Tony Stark, trying to show that he changed his ways, he invited him to become a member. He let him be part of the decision-making, at least for like a couple of months, but when things got to the incursions, they realized he wasn't the guy for the job. Now, why he was kicked out was all down to the incursing Earths, because Cap refused to make the tough choices in regards to them. In trying to stop the first one, they ended up using the Infinity Gauntlet, and this was so they could push the other Earth back and save everyone on both Earths. However, doing this actually shattered all the stones, except for the Time one, and the Illuminati realized that in order to stop the incursions, that they'd have to get their hands dirty. They were going to have to make the tough decision and destroy the other Earths, but Cap refused to do this, which caused a lot of issues. Now, the Illuminati realized that they had no other choice, and in the end, they erased Captain America's memory. Tony Stark created something known as Avengers World, and this was just going to keep him occupied whilst they worked away in secret. Now, this involved Cap recruiting heroes across the planet, and it was just basically busy work that kept his attention elsewhere. Now, it was during the story Original Sin that his memories came back, and he realized exactly what the Illuminati were up to. In that, the Watcher was murdered and one of his eyes was stolen, which was used as a way to unleash all that he had seen. Since he watched everything going on with the Illuminati, Steve got his memory back and then declared the Illuminati an enemy of the world. So they all went into hiding, and Time Runs Out picks up 8 months after they've been declared outlaws. There's a lot going on with it, but basically, it's about the incursions getting to the point where most of the multiverse is destroyed, and there's just a couple of universes left that are all on a collision course. Be here all day if we go through all the ins and outs of that, but I have to talk about that at least to add some context to what comes next. Now, Perez said that in the film, Strange will be teaming up with a multiversal organization called the Black Priests, which Clear is apparently a member of. In the comics, she didn't have anything to do with them, but during the 8-month time jump, Strange ended up becoming their leader. Now, in the build-up to Time Runs Out, they were seen as extremely powerful beings, and sometimes they'd show up during an incursion to destroy the incursing Earths. Completely ruthless, they were near impossible to defeat, and they were one of the greatest mysteries surrounding the entire story. It turned out that each of their members had a word that they knew, and when combined together, each one of these formed a spell. For example, say one of them uses the word like, and the other uses the word hit, you then have the other two that have the word the and button. They can make the spell hit the like button, but in there also lies their weakness. If one of the priests was killed, they'd be unable to ever use that word again, and thus the spells would have to change, and they'd have to come up with some new ones. Now, an expedition was sent out during the 8 months to look for the priests, and it's at this point that they came across their leader in Strange. Strange actually sold his entire soul during the build-up to Time Runs Out because he wanted absolute power, and in order to gain this, you had to sell your entire soul. But he did it, and thus he became an extremely powerful wizard. Now, according to the leaks, they're sort of adapting the bare bones of that, and Strange will end up working with the priest to stop the incursions from happening. He'll be seen as someone who's the common denominator when it comes to what's causing the incursions, and this is something that was actually touched upon in Multiverse of Madness.
From our experience, the greatest danger to the multiverse, it turns out, is Doctor Strange.
Now, it'll be revealed in the end the incursions are also being caused by the Council of Kangs, and this will all build up to the next Avengers film. As for what I heard, they're going to be leaning heavily into also bringing across the general theme of Molecule Man, and this will be seen in either Wanda or Doctor Strange. Now, in case you don't know, basically, the Molecule Man's someone who in the comics was a multiversal bomb across all realities. Created by the Beyonders, they made Owen Reese someone who was the same across all universes, and they granted him with incredible abilities. Their plan was to detonate all the versions of Owen Reese at once, and this would then destroy everything in the multiverse in one go. Dr. Doom actually learned of this plan, and whilst all the stuff with the Illuminati was going on, he had another plot happening in the background of the book. It turned out Doom had been going from reality to reality, murdering every version of Owen Reese in order to stop them from having a way to destroy that reality. However, with the multiverse being vast and infinite, he had to come up with a way to do it quicker, and thus he ended up creating his own religion. Indoctrinating young women known as the Black Swans, they travelled throughout the multiverse forum and killed every version of Reese they came across. Now, that person being a multiversal constant is something that I can see happening with either Wanda or Steven. Both peered into other realities, and they also used the Darkhold to dreamwalk into them, and this was one of the causes of the incursions, whereas in the MCU they operate slightly differently. Staying on another world for too long can bring it into collision with another, and thus I think the initial cause of the incursions will be put down to Doctor Strange. The way you have to look at it is it's like they're sort of marbles on the ground, and if one is hit it has a knock-on effect that smacks into the others. This leads to everything just having a big domino effect, and in the end every world ends up destroyed. Now in the comics, killing that first Owen Reese, that was what caused the first incursion, and this ended up having a big knock-on effect as the worlds collided into each other. It actually took over 20 years to get to the point where it came crashing down and time runs out, and we may actually get some retconning in the MCU where they explain more of what happened to cause them to be incursions in the first place. I've heard from various people that the MCU's Molecule Man is either Wanda or Strange, and that at the root of everything is them causing the incursions to happen. It makes sense too, going off what we learned in Multiverse of Madness, and that comment from the Illuminati seems to highlight what's happening. Strange exists in every reality, and from what we've seen in that and What If, he's the same there too. Now, this is also the case with Wanda, as she's considered a Nexus being too, and there's way more prophecies tied to her as well, so that might make more sense. Either way, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Lots of information dumped there. But yeah, hopefully we've kind of clarified exactly what we think is going to be happening. Obviously, we're still very early days, but I thought this stuff was worth talking about because, look, if you've read Secret Wars, you'll know how good it is, and any excuse to talk about it, I'm going to talk about it. Okay. So yeah, that wraps it up, and please drop a like on the video. I think that's the third time I've begged you for it. And if you want to support the channel as a member of the Spoiler Society, then please click the join button. You'll get early access to videos every week, and it goes such a long way to helping us out the channel. We've almost hit 150 members, which I can't believe you guys are going to support us that much. It really means a lot. And yeah, hopefully you click that button and you know, get some early access to videos. Now, if you want something else to watch, then make sure you check out our breakdown of Across the Spider-Verse from your boy MT that goes over every single thing in the movie and all the references in it. He's done an amazing job with it as well, and yeah, hopefully I see you over there right after this. By the way, huge thank you for sticking through the video. I've been Paul, and I'll see you next time. Take care, peace.